Welcome to our deep dive into Autobiography of a Yogi.
By Paramahansa Yogananda.
That's right.
It's a classic.
I'm fascinated by this whole blend of personal stories
Uh-huh.
and spiritual teachings.
Yeah,
I know you're looking for the nuggets of wisdom that you can actually use.
absolutely.
So let's see what we can unearth together.
You're right. It's
Yeah.
not just a collection of mystical tales.
Right.
He really weaves in these practical insights
Yeah.
throughout his journey.
Yeah.
It starts with his childhood in India.
Uh-huh.
This yearning for spiritual connection just seems woven into his very being.
Yeah, like he was born with this compass.
Yeah.
That's pointing him towards something bigger than himself.
Totally.
And then the profound impact of his mother's early passing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's described as this pivotal moment that really ignited his search for a deeper meaning and understanding. And there's this detail about a mystical amulet that his mother left him, said to contain a photo of her guru
Oh, wow.
and protect him along his path.
Okay, that's intriguing. What do you think the significance of the amulet is,
Beyond
beyond just a sentimental object?
Well, you could see it as a symbol of her spiritual legacy.
Right.
A reminder of the unseen forces guiding him,
Yeah.
even in her absence.
Uh-huh.
It sets the stage for this exploration of faith,
Right.
trust, and this idea that we're not alone on our journeys.
Yeah. And then he has this encounter with Swami Pranabananda,
Yes.
who exhibits the power of bilocation,
Wow.
being in two places at once.
I know.
I mean, talk about challenging our perceptions of reality.
It's a powerful illustration of the potential of human consciousness.
Yeah.
What's fascinating is that he doesn't present these abilities as supernatural,
Right.
but rather as extensions of natural laws that we haven't fully grasped yet.
Okay.
He suggests that through practices like meditation
Mm-hmm.
and deep concentration,
Yeah.
we can tap into these hidden dimensions of our being.
Yeah. So these stories,
Right.
as incredible as they are
Yeah,
meant to inspire us to explore our own potential,
exactly.
not just marvel at somebody else's abilities.
Right.
And it seems like he encountered quite a few individuals
Yes.
who embodied this expanded awareness.
Oh, tons.
Yeah.
There's the saint who manifests fragrances out of thin air.
Okay.
Another one who levitates effortlessly.
Right.
Then there's the tiger swami,
Uh-huh.
who subdues a wild tiger using only willpower.
Wow.
These stories can seem unbelievable,
Right.
but they consistently point back to this immense power of the mind.
It's almost like he's saying, look, if these individuals can achieve these extraordinary feats,
Totally.
imagine what's possible for the rest of us if we tap into our own inner potential.
Yeah, it's incredibly empowering.
Yeah.
He's not presenting these figures as superhuman,
Right.
but as examples of what dedicated practice
Yeah.
and focused awareness can unlock.
But his path wasn't always smooth sailing,
Nope.
was it? I mean, there's that episode where he runs away to the Himalayas
Uh-huh.
in search of enlightenment,
Right,
only to be forced to return home.
right. That experience highlights a really important theme.
Yeah.
The idea of accepting divine timing
Uh-huh.
and surrendering to a higher plan.
Okay.
He may have felt drawn to the Himalayas,
Yeah.
but circumstances, perhaps orchestrated by a greater wisdom,
Right.
led him back home.
Uh-huh.
It seems to suggest that sometimes our perceived setbacks are actually redirects
Yeah.
towards a more fulfilling path.
That resonates with me, actually. It's
Yeah.
like those times when you think you have it all figured out
Uh-huh.
and life throws you a curveball.
Totally.
And you later realize that that curveball was absolutely necessary.
Absolutely.
Speaking of necessary redirects, his meeting with his guru, Sri Yukteswar,
Yes,
seems like a major turning point.
it is.
Yeah.
It's a pivotal encounter.
Uh-huh.
He finally finds the guiding light he's been seeking.
Right.
And Sri Yukteswar wastes no time in putting his faith to the test.
Okay.
He sends him on this penniless journey, relying solely on the kindness of strangers to survive.
Talk about stepping outside your comfort zone.
I know, right?
That would definitely challenge my trust in the universe.
What's interesting is that Yogananda initially resists this journey.
Uh-huh.
He even tries to rationalize his way out of it.
Oh, wow.
But eventually he surrenders to his guru's wisdom.
Okay.
And the experience strengthens his belief in divine providence.
Yeah.
That unseen hand guiding our steps.
Yeah.
Even when we can't see the full picture.
So even for a spiritual seeker like Yogananda,
Yeah.
there's this internal struggle between wanting to control his path
Absolutely.
and surrendering to a higher power.
Yeah.
And it seems like Those moments of surrender often lead to the most profound breakthroughs.
Absolutely. And that's something I think we can all relate to,
Uh-huh.
even if we're not embarking on pilgrimages to the Himalayas. It's that constant dance between our desire to plan and control our lives
Right.
and the recognition that there are forces at play beyond our immediate comprehension.
And sometimes letting go of the reins, even when it feels scary,
Yeah.
can lead to the most incredible experiences.
Speaking of incredible experiences,
Yeah.
Yogananda then describes this profound moment of experiencing cosmic consciousness,
Okay.
a feeling of oneness with the universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a concept that can be hard to grasp
Yeah.
for those who haven't experienced it.
He does sound a bit abstract. What exactly does he mean by cosmic consciousness?
Right.
And how does it relate to the practical takeaways we're looking for?
That's a great question,
Yeah.
and one I think many readers ponder.
Yeah.
Essentially, he's describing a state of expanded awareness
Okay.
where the boundaries between the individual self
Uh-huh.
and the universe seem to dissolve.
Okay.
He experiences this incredible feeling of interconnectedness,
Uh-huh.
of unity with all things. And while it might seem like a purely mystical experience,
Okay.
he suggests that glimpses of this oneness
Uh-huh.
are accessible to everyone
Okay.
through practices like meditation.
So it's not just a lofty, unattainable state,
Right.
but something that we can potentially tap into
Yeah,
through dedicated practice.
exactly. And it seems that experiencing this interconnectedness can bring about a profound shift in perspective,
Okay.
influencing how we relate to ourselves,
Yeah.
to others,
Uh-huh.
and to the world around us.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this ties into the practical side of things.
Right.
But then there's this seemingly random story about the cauliflower robbery,
Yeah.
where he remains completely unfazed after someone steals his vegetables.
Uh-huh.
It feels a bit out of place
It does.
after this profound discussion of cosmic consciousness.
Yeah, but there's actually a subtle connection.
Okay.
This seemingly mundane story highlights the importance of detachment.
Right.
Even in the face of petty annoyances,
Okay.
he maintains his inner peace
Okay.
and doesn't let external events disrupt his inner state.
Ah, so it's about not getting swept up in the drama of everyday life.
Right.
Even when someone makes off with your cauliflower.
Right.
It's like he's demonstrating how this expanded awareness
Uh-huh.
can translate into a more peaceful and grounded way of being in the world.
Precisely. And that's something we can all benefit from, wouldn't you say?
Totally.
Cultivating that inner stillness, even amidst the inevitable chaos of life.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting how he contrasts these profound spiritual experiences
Right.
with everyday moments like the cauliflower robbery.
Right.
It shows that enlightenment isn't about living in some detached otherworldly realm,
Right.
but about finding that inner peace even amidst the ups and downs of daily life.
Exactly. And speaking of contrasts, he then encounters a Muslim wonder worker,
Okay.
demonstrating that spiritual truths can be found
Yeah.
across different religions and traditions.
Right.
It underscores this idea of unity
Yeah.
and interconnectedness,
Yeah.
which seems to be a recurring theme
It is.
throughout his journey.
Yeah, it's a powerful message, especially in a world that often feels so divided.
Absolutely.
And then we get to the story about his guru appearing in two places at once.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, wait a minute.
I know.
Did that really happen?
That's one of those stories that really stretches our understanding of reality.
Right.
He describes Sri Yukteswar appearing to him in a vision
Mm-hmm.
while he was hundreds of miles away, physically present in another location.
Wow.
Yogananda presents it as an example of yogic mastery,
Okay.
the ability to transcend the limitations of time and space through advanced spiritual practices.
So it's not just about levitating or manifesting fragrances,
Right.
but about expanding our awareness to a point where we can perceive and interact with reality
Totally.
in ways that seem impossible from our current perspective.
It's mind-boggling,
It is.
but it also speaks to the idea that there's so much more to the universe
Yeah.
than we currently grasp.
We're pretty-
And perhaps these seemingly fantastical stories are meant to nudge us towards that exploration, to
Right.
challenge our assumptions about what's possible.
It definitely makes you think.
Yeah.
Then we have his repeated attempts to reach Kashmir.
Uh-huh.
It's almost comical how his plans keep getting disrupted.
It's like the universe had other plans for him.
Right.
And those detours, as frustrating as they might have seemed at the time,
Mm-hmm.
actually reinforce the theme of divine timing and surrendering to a higher plan.
So instead of forcing his way forward,
Right.
he eventually learns To trust the process, to let go of his own rigid timeline,
Yeah.
and embrace the unfolding journey.
Yes. And that's a really valuable takeaway.
Yeah.
We often get so fixated on our own desires and plans,
Mm-hmm.
and when things don't go our way, we resist, we get frustrated.
Right.
But what if, like Yogananda,
Yeah.
we could learn to see those disruptions as opportunities for growth and redirection?
It's about shifting our perspective from, why is this happening to me, to what is this trying to teach me?
Exactly.
And it seems that when he finally does surrender and let go of his attachment to reaching Kashmir,
Yeah.
the journey unfolds effortlessly.
Exactly. He eventually arrives in Kashmir,
Uh-huh.
not through his own forceful efforts,
Right.
but by allowing the path to reveal itself naturally.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful illustration of how surrender can often lead to the most fulfilling outcomes.
Right.
And this theme of surrender ties into another key takeaway:
Okay.
the importance of cultivating inner peace and detachment, even amidst life's challenges.
You're right. Throughout the book, he emphasizes the power of meditation
Yes.
and finding that stillness within, no matter what's happening externally.
It's like he's saying, look, life is going to throw curveballs.
Yeah.
There'll be disappointments, setbacks, even moments of grief and loss.
Uh-huh.
But if we can cultivate that inner sanctuary, that unshakable core of peace,
Right.
we can navigate those challenges with more grace and equanimity.
And that resilience seems to be a direct result of his spiritual practices.
Absolutely.
It's not about escaping the world or avoiding challenges,
Right.
but about developing the inner strength to meet them with presence and wisdom.
And it's not just about surviving those challenges,
Yeah.
but about finding opportunities for growth within them.
Okay.
He seems to suggest that even the most difficult experiences can become catalysts for spiritual awakening
Right.
if we approach them with the right attitude.
Which brings us back to those practical takeaways you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
It's not just about reading fascinating stories,
Right.
but about extracting the wisdom we can apply to our own lives.
Right. There are so many nuggets of wisdom woven throughout his journey, like
Mm.
embracing change after loss.
Okay.
Instead of letting grief consume him after his mother's passing,
Yeah.
he uses it as fuel to deepen his spiritual search.
Right.
It's a powerful example of how we can transform pain into purpose.
And he talks about trusting intuition, that inner voice that often whispers guidance, even when our rational mind is screaming something else. He repeatedly emphasizes the importance of listening to that subtle knowing,
Yeah.
even if it leads us in unexpected directions.
And let's not forget the power of gratitude.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Throughout the book, Yogananda expresses gratitude for his teachers, his experiences,
Yeah.
even for the challenges that forced him to grow.
Uh-huh.
He seems to suggest that cultivating an attitude of gratitude
Right.
can shift our entire perspective,
Yeah.
allowing us to find beauty and meaning even in the midst of difficulty.
And he definitely seems to embody that sense of wonder and appreciation for the world around him.
He does.
It's contagious, actually.
Yeah.
I find myself wanting to pay more attention to those small moments of beauty and grace that we often overlook.
Me too. And it's not just about appreciating the external world,
Right.
but about cultivating gratitude for our own inner resources.
Yeah.
He talks about the importance of dedicating time to self-improvement, to practices like meditation and yoga
Yeah.
that nurture our physical, mental, and spiritual well-being.
It's like he's reminding us that we have the power to shape our own experiences,
So,
to
well,
cultivate inner peace and joy, regardless of external circumstances.
and that's a really empowering message.
It is.
It's not about waiting for some external event or person to make us happy,
Right.
but about taking responsibility for our own inner state.
Yeah.
And it seems that these practices, these tools he shares,
Mm-hmm.
are not just meant for spiritual seekers,
Right.
but for anyone seeking a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
Yeah. It's making me think about those times when I've felt most aligned, most in flow.
Yeah.
And often it's when I've been prioritizing those practices, meditation, spending time in nature, connecting with my own inner wisdom.
Exactly. And those moments of alignment often come when we let go of the need to control everything,
Right.
when we surrender to the flow of life and trust that we're being guided towards our highest good.
It all seems to circle back to that idea of surrender.
It does?
Doesn't it letting go of our limited perspective
Yeah.
and trusting that there's a greater intelligence orchestrating this whole cosmic dance?
And that's a beautiful way to think about it, cosmic dance.
Yeah.
It's not about being passive or giving up,
Right.
but about aligning ourselves with that universal flow,
Mm-hmm.
that creative force that's constantly moving and evolving.
Which leads me to a question that's been swirling in my mind
Okay.
as we've been discussing this book.
Yeah.
If I could sit down with Yogananda,
Uh-huh.
I'd be so curious to ask him about the biggest challenge he faced
Oh, wow.
on his spiritual journey.
That's a great question.
Because even someone who achieved such a high level of spiritual awareness
Right.
must have encountered obstacles and setbacks along the way.
Absolutely. And it's often in those moments of struggle
Yeah.
that we discover our greatest strength and resilience.
I think hearing about his challenges and how he navigated them
Uh-huh.
would be incredibly insightful and inspiring.
It would remind us that even the most enlightened beings are human,
Right.
that they too face trials and tribulations.
And that it's not about being perfect or avoiding those challenges,
Right.
but about learning and growing from them.
Yeah.
About allowing them to refine us, to shape us into the best versions of ourselves. It makes you realize that enlightenment isn't about becoming superhuman or reaching some final destination.
It's about embracing the journey
Yeah,
with all its twists and turns.
exactly. And about recognizing that we all have that potential
Huh.
for growth and transformation
Absolutely.
within us.
Speaking of transformation,
Yeah.
it's fascinating how Yogananda's teachings continue to resonate
Yeah.
with people all over the world today.
You're right. His book has become this timeless guide
Yeah.
for spiritual seekers from all walks of life.
And what's striking is how his message transcends
Yeah.
cultural and religious boundaries.
Right.
He presents these universal principles of self-realization and interconnectedness that resonate with people regardless of their background.
It's like he tapped into something fundamental
Yeah.
about the human experience, this yearning for connection, for purpose,
Mhm.
for something bigger than ourselves.
And he offers a path, a set of practices
Right.
and perspectives
Yeah.
that can help us navigate that journey with more clarity and awareness.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Autobiography of a Yogi,
Yeah.
I'm curious, what's the one takeaway that's really sticking with you?
That's a tough one.
Yeah,
There are so many rich insights
I know,
to
right?
choose from. But I think for me,
Yeah.
it's the reminder that surrender isn't about weakness or giving up.
Right.
It's about aligning ourselves with a greater wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
trusting that we're being guided towards our highest good,
Yeah.
even when we can't see the full picture.
That's beautiful, and it ties in so well with everything we've discussed.
Yeah.
The importance of trusting our intuition, letting go of control, embracing the unfolding journey.
Exactly. And it's something we can practice
Right.
in our everyday lives, not just on mountaintops
Yeah.
or in meditation retreats.
Right. Every moment becomes an opportunity
Yeah.
to surrender, to let go of our rigid expectations,
Uh-huh.
and embrace the present moment with openness and curiosity.
And I think that's a great note to leave our listener on.
Yeah.
We've only scratched the surface of the wisdom contained in Autobiography of a Yogi.
There's so much more to discover.
Yeah.
Within those pages, it's a book you can return to again and again, each time uncovering new layers of meaning and inspiration.
So we encourage you to continue exploring this book
Yeah.
and see what resonates with you personally.
Yeah, for sure.
You might be surprised by the insights and synchronicities that unfold
Right.
as you delve deeper into Yogananda's journey.
Until next time, keep diving deep.